Good evening and welcome to our program tonight. On behalf of the TUF, the United Force, myself, Dr. Victor Allen, to my immediate left, I have with me our presidential candidate, Ms. Marissa Nadir, and to her left, we have our Prime Ministerial candidate, Roy Vantal. This evening we will take the time out to inform our viewers and all of Guyana of our plans and some of the activities that we will be carrying out in our election campaign. But first, I will invite you all to pray with me our party prayer. So kindly bow your heads, for those who bow their heads, and close your eyes. Almighty God, Eternal Father of all mankind, we beseech you to bless Guyana, our land of many rivers and one people, to cleanse it from all evils. Unite all our families into one nation and help us develop our country's resources, that in social equality, justice, and brotherly love, we may enjoy together security, freedom, and happiness. For your honor and glory, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening to my co-hosts. And firstly, I would like to ask our presidential candidate her views with respect to some of the rumors that we're hearing that we were and you are prompt to activate the United Force to compete or to run for the general and regional elections come May 11, 2015. Can you clear the air for us?
I'll gladly do that. To begin with, the first thing that is being said and the first rumor is that the United Force has not been in existence since before the last elections, and this is not true. The United Force still stands, it still exists, and what has been happening within the last 2 years or from the last elections to now is that the executive members of the United Force have been meeting not only amongst themselves but with our key persons in the different regions, and re-establishing the principles and the core values of the party. By re-establishing, I mean we have been looking at what it was upon the party's formation and what it is now. And we found that many of the principles are still applicable today. So we will be, and you will see flyers being distributed with the party prayer. And I should note, we're the only party that has a prayer.
Yes.
And the charter, which is the same charter that was used by our founder father, Mr. Peter Degar. And the executive is pleased to see that, Mr. Degar had the vision to take Guyana forward. Secondly, I, Marissa Nadir, was not put to run or to contest these elections by anybody else other than the executive of the United Force. We have not collated with any party. We are not a sham party. We have existed since the 1960s. We are contesting...
Any intentions to collate?
No intentions to collate whatsoever, before or after elections. Our intention is to regain our parliamentary support and actually go a step further. Where we had 1 seat, we actually want a minimum of 2 seats. Primarily because the younger persons of the party are the ones who have ascended to the leadership positions. And we know that the change that Guyana really needs lies with the young people of Guyana. That's why you can see this year we have chosen the slogan, Guyana needs youth. We are the ones with the vision. We are the ones who know what we want, and we are not bitter. We want betterment. So we are actually the ones who are thinking clearly, who are not caught up with the past, who are not consumed by any other sort of vendetta.
So how do you feel knowing that you are the only female candidate for the presidency or the presidential candidate for any of the parties, you are the female and you're the leader. Tell me a little bit more about that. How do you feel?
Personally, it doesn't feel any way different. It doesn't change who I am as a person. And it's not something that's new to me, because the last elections, I was the only female candidate whatsoever, and I was a prime ministerial candidate at that time. So I was the only female candidate contesting the elections, be it presidential candidate or a prime ministerial candidate. And now we see another party has a female prime ministerial candidate. So it shows that already we are setting the trend. And now being the presidential candidate, I'm proud to say that the United Force has put younger persons who are qualified at leadership positions or in leadership positions.
Okay.
It just shows that we are going to set another trend and another example come next elections. Actually, it's also this elections, because we see now other parties are scrambling to get young persons on their list of candidates. Our list of candidates has over 40% women and over 50% youth on all our list of candidates. And by youth, we mean persons under the age of 40.
Okay.
And they come from all scales in Guyana.
Okay.
I want to add something to that.
Sure.
That there's one major party with all the lawyers and scholars. They didn't, when they submitted the list of candidates, they didn't fulfill the mandate of the Constitution, that is to have 1/3 of your candidates to be women. And then afterwards they had to submit the names of 11 women to make up the list.
Okay. So can I ask you, Mr. Roy Vantel, our prime ministerial candidate, how do you view yourself taking up the position if come May 11, our party is to win the general election?
Well, first of all, when I chose to be active in politics, I thought about it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to be in a party that recognizes religion
Yes.
to be an important part of the party, because the majority of Guyanese are religious people,
Yes.
and there's no other party that has a prayer, as you have read the prayer at the beginning, and the word God is specifically mentioned in the Constitution of the United Force.
Okay.
And it is also mentioned in our first manifesto in 1964 that whenever we deviate from the principles of what we're supposed to be doing for the people to make their life easier, and when we fall into the error of suppressing people like what happened now, then we must remember one thing, that all men are equal under God.
Yes. I see here that the United Force, we, the members of the United Force, believe that all men are equal under God.
Could I interject here?
Sure, go ahead.
And could I ask you, what are your beliefs or your views with regards to religion and politics, especially in these particular elections?
Good question. Okay, my views with respect to religion and government or governance and politics is that for over the centuries, from as long as men can remember, most of the political figures in the world had some amount of God within them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that all of them were God conscious or God fearing, but to some extent, some of them were involved in the religious aspect of their communities. And in the developed world, we find that they use the religious aspect of society as a balance. We need something to take care of the moral aspect of our society. So I feel that the government, yes, can deal with the proper functioning of society, but then to keep the the humans, the man at bay in terms of to avoid corruption and nepotism and so forth, we need a spiritual aspect. We need spiritual guides. So I believe that if all religious bodies can participate in the political functioning of their societies, communities, and the country at large, I think we'll have a better society, a better country, and a better system.
Of course, all religious people, especially religious leaders, imams, pastors, pandits, they should come on board of the United Force platform, because at some time you, as a religious leader, you have to fight for the cause of your congregation. And you just don't want to go to government to give lip service and get some lip service again. You want tangible services to be given to your congregation. Yeah. And if we allow irreligious people to lead us, then they will do irreligious things, and all we will do is talk and we can't do anything. So as religious people, we can't just stay on the background and say, let them do what they want.
Of course.
I'll just add, in Region 1 in particular, one of our candidates, both geographic and regional candidates, and I believe he may be on the national top-up list, is a pastor, and a very prominent pastor at that in his community. And he has, and he's indicated to us, and he's always willing to work. Further, in Region 9,
yes,
most of the persons there are very pleased to know that we have still kept the party prayer, because they're familiar with our party and they're familiar with our initial charter. Sure. So they say that's the most important thing. And the best response and the best feedback that I've gotten is, listen, the sun, which is our symbol, the United Forces symbol for a united nation, is something created by God. We don't have a symbol that was man-made. Our symbol is the sun, and you need the sun every day. The sun doesn't stop shining. It comes out, it goes in every day.
Okay.
Yeah, you see,
go ahead.
There's a story about the people doing wrong things all the time.
Yes.
And there was a religious person, he always praying. Doesn't concern himself with the people who are committing sins, who are committing murder, who are committing corruption and all sort of evil deeds. And so God decided to punish that nation. And the angels, they said, oh God, how can we punish that nation? A pious man is there praying. He's praying to you, he's worshiping you, and God said, well, kill him first. Because he doesn't concern himself with the people, he only concerns himself with himself.
Okay.
And so, all religious people, we should come and support the United Force Party, because we are from a moral, we propagate morality, and not only religious people, we want nurses and teachers and doctors, and anyone else who think that they are being suppressed or oppressed. We want farmers and all Guyanese to come together, because we from the United Force, we want to develop a new political culture in this country where we don't curse each other, but we work together, because our motto is one people, one nation, one destiny. Okay. But what we see happening in Parliament now, we have 3 people with 3 countries and 3 destinies.
So the intention is to eliminate such type of actions and activities within the Parliament.
You need debate, you need powerful debates, intelligent debates, but in the end, it must be for the betterment of the people.
So what you're saying is that we can tolerate and permit a certain level of debate within the Parliament, but it must all be geared towards the development of our infrastructural and human aspect of society.
Of course, of course. Look, recently I was in the USA, and one of the men of the Senate or so, he was talking about one of the Kennedys, that he was a Democrat, and that Kennedy is Democrat, I think, and he is a Republican.
Yes.
And they will debate so fiercely in Parliament. And sometimes Kennedy will go over to their bench to support them. And then they will come over back and support Kennedy just for the benefit of the people.
Okay. Well, I have a next question for Ms. Nadir. You've mentioned that you were not coerced to activate our party or to run the general election. Now, I would like to know how and what are the views, if you know, that your father holds with respect to you running for presidency in the TUF. And the other thing is your father still a part of the TUF?
First of all, he's not a part of the TUF. Marissa Nadir is the leader of the United Force. And how does he feel? As a father, I can assume he feels proud. I've never engaged him in a conversation about it.
But since, sorry to be cutting, but since he may be affiliated with the ruling party, how is he taking it? Is there any rejection or neglect or please don't do it?
The dynamics of our household is a quite interesting one. And to be quite honest, we have a beautiful thing in Guyana called the Constitution.
Yes.
And that gives me the right, and as an adult, and in my case I'm 32 years old, it gives, and he was 36 actually, or around there when he was appointed the leader of the party.
Yes.
So I'm ahead of him. I've been,
Well,
you know, and for me it's no secret to the members of our party. I have been on every single political campaign and platform of the United Force since 1991, since I grew up in this party. I don't know any other party other than the United Force. For me, there was no ifs, no buts. There's no question as to where my loyalties lie.
Okay.
I am strong, tough.
But that should not be a problem. If we say we are in a democratic country, then that is a democratic right to be in one party, and it's a democratic right for her father to be in a different party. It's a democratic right of her mother to be in a different party.
Actually,
It's a
my mother is with us.
democratic part of a brother and sister to be for different parties.
Right.
That is democracy.
So what we're saying is that in our society we can have different persons being affiliated with different political parties without creating any sort of friction or separation within that society.
Actually, right now we have existing families that have siblings who are on another side of a political party. I could call names, but I don't know if they would appreciate it, but it's no secret. And they're key persons and active persons in these political parties. And
But I have good friends. They are from different parties, and they told me, if you want power, come, I will give you power in my party. I said, I don't want power.
So tell me.
We want a different way. We don't want power. The people must get power.
Okay,
Exactly.
so how do you plan on giving power to the people?
by being the voice of the people.
Okay.
And by
Yeah, by being the voice of the people and by teaching the people what democracy really is and what power they have.
Okay.
The ultimate power is with the people.
Yes.
But our people, because of how they were trained by people before us, is that the government has power. And the government is telling them, look, give us more power, because the opposition don't want us to pass bills and do this and do that. But the people, they have the power. The people can put you in government and they can take you out from government.
So what are the strategies of the TUF presently to reach the people?
Presently, what we do, we have house-to-house visits, and we also have television programs, and we want to continue to teach the people about what really parliamentarians are supposed to do for them.
For example?
Parliamentarians are supposed to champion the cause of a better life. The human being is the center of all development.
Of course.
We can have good roads, lives on the roads, and our people are not developed. And some or those who are developed, they can't find job to maintain themselves.
Yes.
And those who have the means, they build a house and they can live peacefully in the house, in the houses. And these all are developments, but the human being does not really benefit.
Okay.
We can tell people, for example, as leaders, you are a doctor, you work in hospitals. They say we have state-of-the-art hospitals. Yes, when I am sick as a politician, I take a plane and I go overseas for medical treatment. What you are telling your people is that our medical system is not good, but it's good for you, but not good for me.
So in other words, you're claiming that if and when we should acquire office and a government official is sick, he will be attended right here.
Of course, the same way how the people are being treated. If I'm sick and I go to the hospital and the hospital say, we can't help you anymore, you have to go overseas, then I have to get medical from them to show that they can do the surgery, or so in Guyana I have to go to a different country. I have to get a document from that country that they will accept me, and then you go to the Ministry of Health and then they approve you. Same way the politicians have to be treated too. They are not higher than the people. The people put them to serve them. But the way how the politicians run this country is that the people put them for the people to serve them.
Okay. So a question, go ahead.
When we were speaking earlier, actually, you spoke about the persons who were trying to make their mortgage, and I would really love and appreciate it if you can share that opinion and that view on this forum.
No, basically I was simply stating that, for example, like Roy was saying, most of the people are focused on surviving. So our politicians, they take advantage of our poverty, our state of poverty, because we go to work, we work so hard, and the only thing that we can actually do is pay our bills, nothing more. There is nothing like leisure, at least for myself, nothing like vacation, just work, and we can't focus. So we tend to find that people are afraid even to lose that position, knowing that they have a job that can pay the bills for the next 20 years, so that when they retire, we can say, oh, I have a home. That is sufficient. But I don't feel that that should be life. I think that there is more to it than just living to pay my bills and say, well, yes, that is satisfied. The other thing that I said was, for example, the politicians and those in government, they hardly ever retire. And when they do, their pension is so extravagant. The other day I was speaking to a retired police officer, and she said, you don't want to imagine what I receive as my pension. Now that I'm retired, it's as though I'm not living. So I don't want to imagine the rest. But I was about to ask you a question. What would you like to tell the youths, especially the women of our society and the elderly, about how you intend to make, just a few points, how you intend to make Guyana progress?
Before I go to answering that, your comments, that your views that you just expressed, that is why the executive of the United Force took the conscious decision and say, listen, you are the young people, you are the voice, and you are the change that Guyana needs. You know the frustrations of your peers. You live it day to day. You know what it is like. You know what you want. Those at the top and us older ones, we don't know. We're ready to throw back. And as you said, retire. Well, our executive person said, we want to retire. We want to enjoy ourselves and our grandchildren, and
yes.
so now, and they've given us the opportunity, and what we are asking the Guyanese people is for an opportunity to represent the young people in Guyana at a forum that we will be able to make a difference, and we know that we can make a difference when it comes to youth. And that kind of coincides with my answer, because young people today, Facebook, internet blogging sites, while yes, it provides a medium for you to be able to express your views, it's not sufficient enough. You wouldn't make an impact or a solid impact there. You would make an impact taking a forefront, taking a stand. And if you sit back and you just accept what is happening and take the approach that the young people have right now, which is, listen, at the end of the day, after elections, we still, as you said, survival mode. We still have to live. We still have to pay our bills. I want to know I can go on a little vacation, even if it means going to Berbice and spending some time. I want to know that I could do that. I want to have a family, and I want to be able to still give something to my parents, because my parents made sacrifices, and all of our parents have made sacrifices so that we have a better life and we're educated. Okay. But it's a frustrating situation for young persons because they don't have the opportunities that they should have.
Okay, I don't wish to cut you, but we're running out of time, and I'd like to take a few more views from Brother Roy. So can you, in a few minutes, tell the public why is it that they should vote for the TUF? 2 minutes.
The reason you have to vote for the TUF is, one, we will create a new political culture where we will try to empower the people to give them a full life, because when the people have a better life, it is easier for government to govern.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there anything you wish to add?
Well, I only wish to support all actions of the TUF, and I call upon all the young people of Guyana, the women especially, and the elderly, to give us a chance to express our views, to see things through our eyes, to open the door of technology for us. In Guyana, we have so much potentials that we can express as youths. Today, we are more educated than anything else. And I don't think we should subject ourselves to what we are getting today and receiving from our present administration and opposition, because the parliament is created in such a way that they should meet and satisfy all of the needs of any nation. And especially in Guyana, our concern should be for the development of our people, our infrastructural development. And so far, for 50 odd years, I don't think we have advanced to a level where we can say, yes, Guyana, we're headed there. I think it's time for a change, and I think it's time for youths to take up the challenge. Be brave, come out, speak out, and let your voices be heard. It's a time for a change.
Of course. We know that we will not form the government, but all we want that the people support us so we can prove to them that we are a different type of politician, because we will fight for their causes.
Yes.
And we will fight for a better life, and come 2020, you will have another opportunity to say, well, TUF, you did well, we give you another chance.
Of course.
And come 2025, you will say TUF, you did excellent, so
It's
you
time.
can form the government now.
Okay. Okay. Once again, viewers and Guyana, thank you for entertaining us, and do continue to follow us on Facebook, on our webpage, and from time to time on TV programs like this. And also we'll be having house-to-house checks and informing the nation of all of our activities and plans that we have for the future. So once again, our presidential candidate, Marissa Nadir, thank you for being with us and sharing your views, and also to our Prime Ministerial candidate, Mr. Roy Vantal, thank you, and thank you all for viewing.
Thank you very
Good
much.
evening.
Good evening.
There's a place in the sun where there